Welcome to the TredWear installation video. In this video, we'll be showing you how to get a clean tire surface. This is the most important part when it comes to installing your TredWear graphics. As you can see here, we have a standard degreaser. Any heavy household degreaser will work fine, as long as it doesn't leave any residue behind. Put a generous amount on the tire. And you see here, see all the brown crud that it pulls up? I like to use a brush when I start out to get the larger areas as an initial clean, and then after brushing you can see all the brown oil. Tire actually has up to 7 quarts of oil that's inside it in the manufacturing process that leaches to the surface. We want to make sure we get all that off. We cleaned with the brush, and now it's time to use a dirty rag to get the first clean off and all that gross residue that we brought to the surface with the brush. As you see, I'm going with the grain here. If there's some kind of grain on the tire, it helps you get in the grooves, helps you get all that gunk out of the crevices of the tire. Now it looks like we're clean here, but we're not. Sometimes it'll take up to 2 or 3, even 5 applications of cleaner and wiping to make sure you get everything off the tire surface. You see the brown gunk that's pulling up after we've just finished cleaning it? That's an example of what you still need to get off the tire so that you're doing a pure rubber on rubber installation. Now after that initial clean, you see we've gotten the brown gunk off. I want to start with a clean rag on the second application, and that clean rag is going to let us know. Again, you see this brown gunk that's coming to the surface. You'll see more of that same oil and chemical that we have to get off the surface of the tire to have a pure rubber on rubber installation. Again, you see me following the grain with the clean rag, and you're going to see that I'm using a little bit of force here. Look at the gunk that I'm pulling off of that. Now, we thought the tire was clean 2 applications ago, so that gives you an idea of how you have to get this surface clean, free of all oils, so you have, again, a pure rubber on rubber installation. Now we've done our multiple cleaning applications, and we're starting to get the tire clean. We know it's starting to become clean for 2 reasons. One, we're feeling some good resistance against the rag as we scrub, and we're actually pulling away a little bit of fibers off the rag, and that tells us that the rubber is actually gripping against the rag. Now, as you can see here, another thing that we notice is we're not pulling a lot of black gunk off. A little bit of residue is fine, but that tells you that you're getting the tire extra clean. And again, cleanliness is the most important part when it comes to the long-lasting TredWear letters application. Now that the tire surface is clean, we want to make sure our graphic is clean. So I'm putting a little bit of degreaser on the back just to make sure any residue from manufacturing is removed. Now when placing the graphic, you want to follow one of these molding lines on the tire. It's better to be closer to the rim than further away, so we're going to choose this line right here. Now you see these nibs? If you have any of those in your way, this is a good time to pull those off as well. Now since this is a rather large graphic, we're going to use the hinge method to apply it. What you see me doing here is taking a piece of tape and taping the graphic in place. Again, taking note of that molding line we're going to follow. This eases the installation because it allows me to only have to handle 1/2 the graphic at one time. Now we have half of our graphic folded back and we're applying glue. You see I'm putting a single line across the graphic in the stroke, and I'm going to go back and paint in the glue. Now as you see me painting it in here, I'm not actually applying more glue. I'm just spreading out the glue that's already applied with the tip of the glue bottle. This gives me a nice even application. With glue, you really want less is more. So you want the thinnest possible application of glue spread out across the back of the graphic for best adhesion. Now I have a thin, even coat on the back of the graphic. We're ready to take the half with the glue on it and place it. Again, we want to place it along that molding line and just barely touch the edge along that molding line across the bottom, and it sticks immediately. After the bottom is stuck, you start to move upward and hold the top in place. If it doesn't stick immediately, just hold your fingers there a few more seconds and it will. Then smooth out with your fingers over the edges of the graphic to make sure you're getting a good solid bond all the way around. This graphic that I'm installing has a blue protective coating on it. Your graphic may have a clear protective coating that can be left in place even after the letters are installed, so that later on you could peel and have fresh, clean white letters after they've been on the tire for weeks. Now I'm ready to peel the tape, and so we can install the other half of our graphic. Now we don't actually have to install it all at one time. The beauty of the hinge method is we can go ahead and just put one letter on at a time, applying glue as we go, just as before, and sticking each piece of the graphic in place. Now again, I want to emphasize that you want to use a very thin coating of glue, and as you see here, I'm taking that glue and I'm spreading it as thin as possible across that letter. The thinner you spread it, the quicker it will bond and the more permanently it will bond. When you use too much glue, not only does it squirt out to the edges, but it takes it longer to adhere and does not stick instantly. A thin, even coat is best. Now, just as before, we're going to apply the graphic to the tires. As you see, I'm starting out at the bottom and working my way up, letting the graphic hug the contour of the tire. Starting at the bottom and working my way up, and then rubbing my thumb across the edge of the graphic, making sure everything has a strong bond. Again, the surface of the tire is curved, so we will place the graphic down along the line that we want to follow, along the bottom first, then working our way upward, each part of the graphic sticking as we smooth it out. Now that we're about through, we want to rub back over the entire graphic, making sure there are no loose sections and that everything is stuck sufficiently. After doing this, your TredWear graphic is all done, ready to roll. Again, if you have the clear protective coating, you will not need to worry about peeling off the blue as we are at this point. But when you're peeling the blue, or if you notice any loose corners, this is the time when you could go back and touch up those loose corners. The best way to touch up a loose corner would be to use a toothpick, dab a little drop of glue on the toothpick, peel back the loose corner, and apply it underneath, using the same pressure to make sure it sticks down sufficiently the last time. Again, this is just in case you didn't get glue all the way to the edge in one point or another. You're ready to roll with your TredWear graphics.